Hello and welcome to This is MediaCity. I'm Stephen Chapman and today I am joined by Simon Corbett, CEO and founder of Jargon Group and also Industry Insights Group. You've got two big jobs here, Simon, as a CEO and founder of Jargon Group, which is B2B PR.
Yes, that's right.
And Industry Insights Group, which is more publishing, is that right?
Yeah,
Digital publishing?
that's correct. We've got five B2B digital media titles across five different industries. So we've got aviation, courier and logistics, print, and a couple of others. And that business, we've got five brilliant journalists who write the news and look after that. And then we've got a team that organise conferences, awards, and events for those markets.
Fabulous. Now, before we start talking to you about your businesses and everything you're doing, we have some icebreakers to start the show.
Ready.
Now, these could be absolutely anything. See, I'm shuffling. It's not even pushed them in a different direction. So there you are. Pick a card, any card, and tell me a bit about it.
Okay, pick a card. Here we go. Biggest bugbear.
Yeah, what's the thing that annoys you most as a CEO and founder?
I would say, what is my biggest bugbear? When people don't pick up the phone. Oh, what are you doing? I'm ringing. No, I know that's a silly one. I would probably say, when we do new business and sometimes people disappear on us, that's a bit of a bugbear because we put an awful lot into that. And whether it's chemistry meetings, putting together proposals, competitor research, learning, outreach to some key journalists just to get a bit of initial thoughts and feelings on specific sectors, and then someone might just disappear. We don't have it very often, but when we do, that gets the blood boiling a little.
Yeah, I think that's quite a common one across the businesses, isn't it?
Yes.
Like all that pitch work and all the money you spent and the time going on, and you thought you got on really well, and then suddenly there's no answer.
They've done a Houdini on me, and so that's probably my number one, I'd say, which we don't have very often, but when it does happen, that's a bit annoying.
You don't really want to see that creative you pitched appearing under a different guise as well, do you?
No, that's it.
I'll do you one more.
One more, okay, let me go for this one. Which team do you support?
Because you're a football fan, aren't you?
Big Arsenal fan, yeah. Mum and Dad are from North London, and we were the right side of North London for Arsenal. All of my cousins and the other side are unfortunately the blue side, which we won't talk about. But yeah, big Arsenal fan.
You're in Greater Manchester at the moment. I will remind you of that.
Yes.
Is this? I've got to ask. Is this year for Arsenal? Or is it going to go and happen again?
This is our year. Although I have been saying that now for several years, so we'll keep everything crossed.
The women's team are doing all right. If worse comes to worse,
they are fantastic. They are flying the flag for us. So love it.
Let's start on Jargon.
Yes.
You've based it in Reading.
Yes.
However, you have three more offices.
Yes, that's right.
MediaCity was your third, was it, of the gang? Or?
The second of the one. Yeah. So
Reading, then MediaCity.
Correct.
Fine. Why here?
So around 6 years ago, we bought a small PR agency in Audley Edge. The reason for buying that was because around that time, the BBC and ITV were moving up to Manchester. There was a ton of investment going on, and it was just such a cool place. And I'd been up a handful of times, had friends here, just loved it, absolutely loved it. And we just wanted to be part of this and get in. So we bought this agency in Audley Edge, and then the first thing we did was relocate them to MediaCity here, and been here ever since. Loved it. We bought a second agency 3 years ago called Pelican Communications that do ESG campaigns. Merged those guys who are utterly brilliant, and just grown and loved being here.
What is it about? You've done this through acquisition route. Why was that easier than kind of just opening an office and going, right, we can do this?
So organic growth is great, but of course can be slower and can take time. And you've got to establish yourself in a local market, a region, build up some awareness, get out networking, etc., etc. And I wanted to try and go a bit quicker and do things at a bit more of a pace. So I went down the acquisition route. At Jargon, we've done 5 acquisitions over the past 7 years or so. 2 of them were Manchester agencies, and they've been fantastic in cementing our presence up here, building local contacts, knowledge, expertise, clients. So that's been great.
And you've also got office in LA?
Yes, that's right. We've got a little satellite thing over there, and also in Dubai.
How is Dubai? Because we record this on the, let's see, watch the 10th.
Yes.
Yeah, so how are they doing over there?
They're okay. I spoke to Mohit, our main guy over there yesterday, and he's doing really well. They've all been sleeping in the corridors away from the windows for obvious reasons and things like that. But no, he's safe and doing okay. We've been over there around just under 4 years, and it's been good. We've got a team, we've got offices. It's been slower to build over there than I would have hoped. But
was that an acquisition as well? Over
no,
there?
we started, so it was around 4 years ago, the Dubai government were doing a golden visa scheme for tech entrepreneurs. And I'd been going for years, just for holiday with my children. And basically there's a lot of agencies over there. There's a lot of cool Instagram, influencer, consumer agencies over there. There weren't many that do the B2B like we do, like tech, professional services, that sort of thing. There's a couple of the real big boys, but there's no mid-market or smaller agencies. So we thought we'd start up, and it's been great. What we found is for Western clients that are going into that region, that for us is brilliant. And the results have been great. The media's been great. It's been really good. Winning clients who are Emirati takes longer. It's much more about trust and relationships. They've really got to know you, and it just works a little bit differently over there, is what we've found.
Has it been a bit of a learning curve? Despite going on there on holiday, has it been quite a learning curve?
Definitely. Business works differently over there, very differently from how we do things. So, I mean, for example, everything is done through WhatsApp. Everything. Like, email is secondary.
Okay.
But they all communicate and love WhatsApp. Contracts are sent on WhatsApp. You will sign contracts through WhatsApp. Your UAE Emirates ID and government portal is linked to everything. So if you're renting a car or leasing an apartment or something like that, everything is done through WhatsApp and through apps. So very tech and future focused, but it's been great for us, and personally I love it.
And what has been the success there? Because when you look at it, you say, okay, Dubai, US, West Coast, Manchester and Reading. So is that because of your client base that you've kind of been very specific on these cities?
That's exactly it. So we've got around 40 or so, or just over, retained clients. They're all tech, B2B, professional services, and they're mainly UK, East or West Coast in the US, or over in the UAE. So we've tried to put the offices and the teams and the investment where the clients are.
I'm going to have to, because a lot of people will be watching this and they may not be aware of all the terms, but B2B, business to business. That's not, as opposed to business to consumer. Yeah. So when you're doing a business to business campaign, what is that kind of thing? It's conferences, it's in
media relations, conferences, events, awards. So for example, a typical client for us might be, let's say, let me give you an example from last week. A really good telecoms client of ours. So we were organising a bunch of press briefings for them with the telecoms press, so the trade media that write about telecoms. We would be entering them for awards, to win awards in that industry. We would be getting them speaking at conferences. We would be speaking to some of the big analyst firms that write big, in-depth reports, and helping them with their communication and managing their reputation in the press.
The consumer one is people love, because they see it. Oh, it's they're talking to whatever. Is this? It's not an unglamorous side, is it? B2B. I have to say, because we do a lot of B2B as a production company, but it's kind of that secret little bit behind that people, general public, maybe are not so aware of.
Yeah, it's. I mean, it can be very cool and very glamorous. So, for example,
there are some amazing companies, and they can't release stuff to the public yet, but you know about it first.
That's it. One of our biggest clients, they've just done a big show in Orlando last week, and the team have been over there. We flew 5 journalists over there. They were interviewing the executive team over there, learning about what they're developing, and then looking after them for a week. So there's lots of fun stuff as well. There's lots of future gazing, thought leadership type content that we do. So we might work with a client in a particular industry, and we would say, well, what's your industry going to be like in 5 years' time? Let's really try and think about this, and then do research, content, infographics, anything like that around it. So it can be quite cool.
And going back to when I first introduced you of Jargon and also Industry Insights Group, arguably that when you first say it straight away, you think, how do these two link together? But actually, there's quite a lot of synergy therefore between these two teams, I suppose.
There is, yeah. They're run as separate businesses, and I've got to say they are kept pretty separate, to be honest. But at IIG, we have the 5 media brands, we have 5 brilliant editors, and then we do conferences, events, awards for those. We don't have we don't have any clients that overlap those two businesses for obvious reasons.
But I suppose the learnings you get from one can feed into the other.
That's exactly it, and that's great. So employing journalists is very different from employing PR people.
As a journalist, I'm aware
they
are problematic in many ways.
They are wonderful. They are built differently though, and that's great. So no, the learnings are fantastic.
So, talk to me about how you've ended up in this position, because have you always been an entrepreneur, or did you start in PR or publishing?
Started in PR, so I did 10 years at 3 of the big global agencies in London. So I was Edelman, Shandwick and Porter Novelli. So
they are the bigger ones.
They are, loved that, did my kind of 10 years, and most people get to sort of about 30 or early 30s, and they sort of do one of 3 things. They either decide to go in-house and be a in-house comms or PR manager, they stay in a big agency and work their way up, or they go out on their own and give it a go. And I chose the latter, and 15 years later, here we are.
How difficult was it? Had you always got the idea of a group in mind when you left, or was it?
No, it was very much the first 7 or 8 years. I had not, the idea of acquisitions and growth or group had not really crossed my mind. We were trotting along nicely. We'd got through about 1.5 million in fees at Jargon PR. We only had 1 office, and yeah, we were ticking along okay. And I guess for me, I just wanted to go faster and do a bit more. So that was when the idea of acquisitions came into play, and then that's gone well, and then an opportunity.
How do you go from, sorry to interrupt, but you work in PR agencies, big ones, you set up your own company, doing well in terms of billings. What makes, how do you, that learning to go, right, I can acquire something, because that's no small feat, is it?
Yeah, so basically for me, I'm one of these, I love learning, and I had joined numerous groups and networking groups in London and internationally, where sort of owner managers of businesses get together and swap war stories and that sort of thing. And there was one I joined, and it was about acquisitions, and it just really appealed to me. The first deal we did was a super small agency in Monmouth, which was turning over just over £100,000 a year. So it was super tiny, and I just wanted to see if I could do it. I knew all the words like heads of terms and share purchase agreements and covenants and warranties, but I knew the words, but I didn't really actually know what I was.
The understanding
of them. The real depth. So I thought let's try it with something small. Let's see if we can actually do this, and one thing led to another.
And from the outset of a business, one of the first scary moments is in employing one member of staff.
Yes.
And you get over that, and you go, okay, well, I can do that. I can employ more. Therefore, are you saying that when you acquire one business, I've done that, let's go bigger? Absolutely,
that's it. You learn very quickly that the same amount of effort and work and often money is involved in a business that's doing 100 grand a year, that's doing $1 million a year, like that. Your due diligence, your background checks, everything like that. It's, once you've done it, when you do it for one business, you can do it for others, and actually doing it for a business that's bigger or smaller, it's very much the same. You mentioned the due diligence there. We'll fly back to Arsenal for a minute. How much of these do you have to think about the business fit and the staff fit when you're bringing them in? Because
presumably you've got this is what Jargon Group is.
Yeah.
So there'll be certain businesses you eye and go, nah.
Yeah. Culture is without doubt the most important part of it. What we've found is that of the three areas, sort of doing the work and the services, that's great, that's straightforward. When it comes to clients, that's great. As long as you're delivering value and insight, that's great. And we've never had a problem with either of those. Culture and people are definitely the most important thing. And just making sure you really understand that. And my experience has been, it might be sort of the silly things that we might smile about, but actually they are the most important things. So whether it's, I can remember one acquisition we did, the former owner had fully expensed mobile phones for all the team. Well, we don't do that, for example. People just submit expenses and it all gets paid. And this was just a huge thing. And
car parking can be such a big difference.
Absolutely. One deal, they paid on the third Thursday of the month. We pay everyone on the final Friday of the month. So it was always these little things that you've really got the attention to detail. You cannot overstate how important that is. And I remember thinking, well, the third Thursday or the Friday, it's a few days apart, it's not going to make any difference. And then, of course, you realise very quickly that it's a bit silly of me to say that these smaller details are huge details to people.
Do you ever look at an agency and go, I love that, I want that client? That's why I'll have that agency, or is it more the culture? Which comes first?
It's more the culture and the brand, definitely, because clients come and go. They might sign 12 or 18 month deals, and that's that. But things change in agency world all the time. For me, it's the brand, it's the culture, it's the people. That's what I always look at first.
And is it different buying a PR agency than buying a publication?
The fundamentals are the same. I guess the main difference is really the revenues and where the money comes from. So if I think we're looking at one at the moment, a B2B media title in a particular vertical market, they're just over $1 million a year in fees. 80% of their income comes from one big international awards event at the end of each year.
80%?
Yeah.
Wow.
The other 20% is subscriptions and digital ads, and that's it. So the risk is obviously huge because there's one big event that they do at the Grosvenor at the end of each year, an award event. Whereas PR agencies, normally, if you're you could have 20 clients. The biggest client might be 6 or 7%, for example. It's a much lower.
You can spread the risk.
It's a lower. It's a different game, definitely.
So when it comes to those publishing titles, I'm trying to work out the years because Industry Insight, did you have that during COVID?
Yes. So
how did you code during that? Because if events are such a massive thing for publishers.
Yeah.
And suddenly it's switched off during COVID.
So we only had one title at that time, and that particular brand we did 3 conferences a year for. We did a Singapore, a New York, and a London. So for a few years, of course, we didn't do any events. We were very lucky that we had a number of customers that you did digital advertising with us, so they bought banners and that sort of stuff. So we trotted along at a lot lower level for a couple of years, but we always knew it would come back, and when it did, it was great because, as we all know, people wanted to get out and network and meet other people and see other people, so it's all kind of come back with a bang.
I'm going to kind of switch slightly here, but what interests me, both in terms of the B2B PR, but also from the publishing point of view, AI.
Yes.
Because you work in tech.
Yep.
You've just come back from Barcelona for the Mobile World
Congress.
Yes.
Yeah.
Obviously, I imagine a lot of people are talking about AI and Gen AI and everything else. How do you think is this going to fundamentally change the way both of your groups work?
Yes and no. Yes, it has changed a number of things. I think the sort of initial fear of AI is taking our jobs, we're not going to have journalists, all that sort of stuff's gone now. We know we are. The secret is in sort of how you use these bits of tech. In my mind, for the roles we have, they're never going to replace people. I think the secret is the team using it in intelligent and insightful ways to add value to the content that they're producing. On the PR side, funnily enough, I had a new business call just before coming in here, and the first question that the CMO said to me, she said, "I'm only
Chief Marketing Officer."
Chief Marketing Officer. Sorry, she said, "I'm only focused on media that influence the LLMs, the large language models. So I don't want you to get me in any media that aren't influencing results from Claude or ChatGPT." Now, 5 years ago, you wouldn't have imagined anyone would have said that.
That conversation couldn't have happened because people wouldn't have known what any of those words meant.
Absolutely, yeah. 5 years ago, it would have been, I'd like to be in the Financial Times, or I'd like to be in Computer Weekly, or a brand like that. So it's a different conversation now for both areas of the businesses.
So talk to me about that, because how do you get into, because influencing large language models, that's... Some might say there's ethics as well in there as well.
Sure. So the way we look at it is we have a couple of bits of software that we use from third parties that look at where some of the LLMs will take content from, and then so that gives us a steer on where we'd like to have great content for clients placed. Yeah. It's not foolproof. I think the thing with it is it's all developing so quickly and moving at such a pace. These are the sort of types of conversations chief marketing officers are having with us now.
And that must be really difficult, because on the other side, journalism is having a similar kind of thing, saying don't scrape our stories.
Yes.
So whilst one might say I want to be in the Financial Times, at the same time Financial Times saying no, well, we don't want to be influencing large language models. So you go to a client who wants to be in the FT but also wants to influence that. You're saying, well, hold on a minute, you have to do one or the other or both.
Absolutely, yeah. You
don't just want to be on Reddit, do you?
No, that's it. It's all changed, and I think a lot of people are. I mean, we're all learning as we're going, to be honest with you. I don't think anyone's kind of quite cracked it and got the secret sauce to all of this yet. I think it's all changing at such a pace.
So how does that influence how you kind of run your businesses now, both in public relations but also in publishing? Are you having to look at a different kind of person coming in? Are you looking at different, say, acquisitions to try and kind of plug that gap almost?
I think for us, team learning and development is even more at the heart of everything we do. It always was, but now we're even more focused on that, because I want both of the teams in both of the business to be as up to date, as upskilled as possible. I want them all to know a lot more than me, which they do. So we're just super focused on that and making sure we have got the most sort of insights and we can offer the most value to clients as possible.
And I suppose working business to business and in the sectors you work, like I think you work in health, fintech.
We got some fintech clients, yes.
You also have to be careful with compliance, I would have thought, using AI, because you don't want to put these secrets out there into
Absolutely.
these models.
You've got to be very careful. You can't just be copying and pasting content or putting anything in those models for obvious reasons. So yeah, you've got to be very mindful and very aware, and you've got to use them in the right way. It's not a cheat sheet to get work done super quickly or anything like that. It's a valuable tool to add insight and knowledge, but you've still got to do the work properly as a team.
So what's next for you guys? Because you've been talking about you want to grow fast. Are you still got that kind of energy about growth in there?
Definitely, absolutely. So in terms of Jargon, we've got a brilliant team up here in Manchester and also down in Salford. Sorry, Salford. Sorry, slip of the tongue there. brilliant team up here in Salford and also down in Reading. And we're looking at extending that. We're looking at growing it. New business is good. We've got a really strong pipeline. And so we're very keen to continue growing organically and through acquisition as well. And there's a couple of agencies we're looking at the moment. There's some changes to business asset disposable relief in early August. That's going from...
Go on, tell us what that means.
The amount of tax you pay when you sell a business.
Right.
Which is going from 14 to 18%.
So if you're trying to get rid of a business, it's good news for you.
It's bad news
because
you're going to pay more tax, but
right.
It's good news
for you.
Because what's happened is there's quite a number of mid-sized agencies where the owners are a bit older. They want to sell. They want to pay less tax. So at the moment, there's quite a number of agencies on the market that are for sale. So we've been looking at a handful. So we're super keen to try and add to the group, maybe bring one or two more in and keep growing.
And in terms of Jargon, is that a geographical expansion, or is that a sector expansion, or is it a mixture of both?
It's a little of both, to be honest. Super keen to stick with B2B, so tech, software, professional services. That's what we know. That's what we're good at. We're not about to go off and start doing, consumer ads or anything like that. So, yeah, definitely sticking with what we know. In terms of geographies, UK. Definitely, I'm not looking at buying anything internationally, but yeah, we're quite excited about the next few months.
And on the publishing side, is that steady? Because it's a difficult world, is the world of publishing at the moment, isn't it?
It's super tricky.
Because Google's changed analytics slightly, so the AI part of Google is reading the articles first, so you're not necessarily getting those click-throughs you need and stuff like that.
You're exactly right. We're very lucky in that the 5 markets we're in are vertical business-to-business markets. So we have a loyal trade readership of people in those markets, and we run conferences and events and awards that are super well attended. That's where we make most of our revenue from. So they're solid and stable. So we're pleased with that. We're definitely looking at adding another couple of vertical titles. So other B2B verticals. There's several we're looking at the moment that have been put on the market. So, and they're all very similar to us. So some great journalists, do some great events, conferences, so they would fit really well into that group. So we're definitely looking at those and hoping it won't be too long before we'll have something exciting to announce. So
it's a another period of growth for you guys.
That's the plan, absolutely. We've got to keep going.
Well, thank you ever so much for coming along onto the podcast.
Well, thank you. Pleasure to be here, and yeah, big fan of what you guys are doing and love being in Salford.
You got it right this time.
I did.
Thank you for watching. This is MediaCity, which is a 39 Pictures production on behalf of MediaCity and in partnership with the University of Salford. And all the team behind the scenes are graduates and undergraduates from the University of Salford and the University of Manchester. So please remember to like, subscribe, share, comment, and we will see you next week. The production team are Meg Bond, Tegan Easton, James Young, Amelia Husselby, Marnie Holdsworth Green, and Rose Lonsdale.